Last week, a representative from the affiliate program from VEVOR.ca sent me an email and she said, would you like to review a machine from VEVOR? Like any red-blooded Canadian, I said, hell yeah. And I immediately went to the VEVOR.ca website and started looking for machines that I would like to review. Number 1 on my list is a mini metal lathe. Number 2, check out this wood lathe with copy attachment. Ooh. Nice, how about a 20-watt laser engraver? So I sent them the links and they sent me back an email that said, Matthew, you can only choose an item for $100 to $200 on our bargain basement page. I'm like, okay, all right, I'll check that out. So basically on their daily deals page, there's not really a lot of woodworking stuff. So eventually I did find something I wanted. My previous air compressor, I treated a little bit badly and let it rust. I'm kind of a little bit scared of it now. I was excited by this air compressor because it says 70 dB, ultra quiet, and it goes on and on about how it has mufflers and all kinds of stuff to make it very quiet. And I was like, I would really like a quiet air compressor. And so this is actually a cool thing. I'm gonna ask them if they'll send me this. So in a couple of days, the package unceremoniously arrived at my front door. And with the help of my wife, I dragged it downstairs. It's 20 kilograms and a little bit awkward, which is not that much, but I unboxed it. Putting it together was actually fairly straightforward. One thing I was confused by was the which dial was the regulator pressure and how to adjust the regulator pressure for the hose. I actually had to go to another free product review on YouTube just to double check everything, but I figured it out. So a few minutes later, I assembled it. It was very easy, actually. All you got to do is put on the wheels, this handle, and actually these mufflers are separate. So it comes with these little mufflers, and that's part of what makes it so quiet, I guess. In the instructions are, there's a little bit of broken English, but it's pretty easy to follow. Again, the one thing I was a little confused by was where the regulator thing was, but I figured that out. It's right here. It's this red knob, and this is regulator, this is tank pressure. Let's just go over the look while I'm here. It actually said it was designed by an Italian team, with elegant and modern industrial style appearance. You know, it actually does look like that. It's actually, I don't like orange and black together. It reminds me of like Halloween or something. I don't like that, but you know, it kind of does have a nice hot rod look. And the thing is that it has wheels, and so they've designed it so it's pretty easy to drag it around. Let's get into some tests really quickly and just test it against the only other compressor I've ever had in my whole life, and that's the Porter Cable red pancake compressor that every Home Depot sells. So the Porter Cable is just so goddamn loud. It's such a growly, deep, like gurgly engine sound, so gnarly and nasty. And the VEVOR is actually a much nicer sound. It's much gentler. The key thing in their advertising was that it was 70 dB. And actually in the manual it says 75 dB. And in reality it's a little over 80 dB. But still it's within that threshold that it's just not annoying. When you get up to 100 dB like the Porter Cable, it's kind of bordering on that you're going to lose your hearing zone of decibels. So the next test was refill time. How long does it take to refill the tank and continue working? So one of the things I use is an air gun to clean machines and just to generally blow things off. Now what I find is when I crank that pressure up to 60 or 75 psi, it just drains the tank instantaneously. And then you've got to wait for it to recover, you've got to wait for it to refill again, to go again. So actually every second counts in doing that. When you're using a pneumatic tool, I find it drains it fairly slowly. When I'm using air compressed sprayer for painting, I find it drains it pretty quickly. So anyway, recovery time really makes a big difference. This is the only other compressor that I've ever had any experience with. I've had this for 2 or 3 years maybe. And you're gonna think I'm stupid, but I abused it right from the start. I didn't understand that the drainage, which is... So what I did was I abused it unknowingly right from the start. I didn't understand, so the drainage is down here. I thought you just drain the tank and then you can release this and all the water would flow out. I didn't understand that you actually have to really jiggle it and like find that center point to effectively drain it. So I was working in a high humidity environment and I didn't drain it for I didn't drain it properly for almost a year. And when I finally figured that out, some gnarly orange sludge came out of it. And I figured that I have indeed rusted the tank. And therefore I'm sitting on top of a time bomb, maybe, I don't know. I mean, some people say online that, you know, it's not going to be that catastrophic. If you read all the warnings on these things that, you know, it's going to blow up your entire home and kill you and your family and everyone you ever knew. So anyway, it may be a little bit dangerous. And the other thing, it's loud. I like it, but it's loud. It's kind of a pain in the ass to drag around. It takes a long time to recover. And it's loud. The tank size is pretty similar. The capacity is pretty similar. This is 6 gallons. This is like 6.3 gallons. It's kind of, I think, an apples to apples comparison. This actually has 2 hoses. I never use 2 hoses, but you know, if you and a buddy are working on 2 pneumatic tools at the same time, this only has 1. This is on wheels. I think this is just a straight up better design. It's more mobile, it's more functional. You know, it actually looks cool. They did a great job on the design. It recovers quicker. This is $200. This, for me in Canada, this is $250. It goes on sale quite a bit. It fluctuates like the stock market, but right now if I wanted to buy it, it's $250. So I think VEVOR's come through on their promise of giving you something that's less expensive and higher performance. Who knows how long it'll last? I just got it 2 seconds ago. But I think it's a great deal. So it's something to consider for your shop if you need a small air compressor and you're doing stuff like that. Another thing about this one is the drainage knob. You got to take... They've got this thing, it's knurled, and you got to take like vice grips or something to get it off. I find it very hard to turn. On the VEVOR, they actually have a wing nut, which makes it a lot easier to turn. So just in case anyone wondering, this is tank pressure, this is air release, but you don't want to do this right away. This is another air release. I don't really understand how this works. This is the regulator pressure, and this is the regulator valve. So this is what's actually coming out. This is what's in the tank. This is what's coming out of your hose, so to your tool. Portability wise, it's not that heavy, and it's got a good handle and a good position, but it's a little, you gotta, you know, when you don't want to have to walk 100 feet with this guy. The VEVOR, I mean, they just thought of having a handle and a good position, wheels. You can actually loop your hose around here. It just allows you to reposition it a bit more quickly. So that idea was well thought out. It's available on the VEVOR.ca website. They generated a discount code for me, and you can use that to get 5% off if you want to. I think that equals $10 off. So yes, I think it's worth it, and I'm going to continue to use it and see how it goes.